I feel so professional.
Oh my God, super professional, yes.
Okay, so hopefully we're live. I think it is. It looks to be working. And I'm so excited to be starting this interview series because, as most of you in my group know, I've been working this past year through the 600-hour sex, love, and relationship coaching program through the Tantric Institute for Integrated Sexuality. And I've met so many amazing women in this group, and I really wanted to kind of showcase them. And every one of them has their own unique niche and powers and what they're bringing, how they're bringing this sexuality work to the world. And I really wanted to share that because it's so important that we open this discussion and we all have a different way of doing it. And I thought it would be really fun to kind of dive into some juicy topics with these ladies for the next couple months on Tuesday morning. So excited today to introduce the beautiful Claudia Lucida. And Claudia, actually, we met through the program, and she is the founder of the Orgasmic Genius movement. And among other things, I would love if you would just feel free to introduce yourself.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Amanda. This is so exciting for me to be here. And so I'm an artist. I'm a visual artist. I'm a photographer and musician, amongst other things. And I was doing Mama Gina's course last year, her mastery course. And throughout the whole program, I just kept getting these downloads like orgasmic creativity, orgasmic genius. Genius is in the genitals. And I was like, what? Like, what is this all about? And then I started really listening to that like inner voice being like, oh my God, like what if genius is really in the genitals? And I'd really always been sort of like, I've always had this fascination with like genius and like higher creativity and like, you know, achieving these states of like ecstatic expression. Through art or through media or other outlets. And then I always had this idea that it was sort of like in the head, like you had to kind of like really like think your way to like creating something meaningful, or you had to like, you know, you had to work really hard, or you had to like try a lot to really make it happen. But then when I started like tapping into this power in my pussy, like this juicy, electric, yummy aliveness, I can feel it right now. I started feeling like inspiration to do things. I started to feel unblocked creatively. I felt like I really wanted to like get back into projects that I'd kind of put on the back burner for a while. And so, and then I just basically started teaching these workshops that were all about teaching people how to channel their genius from their genitals and really like root into their orgasmic creativity and really like be able to create whatever they want from that space of turn on versus like trying. So turn on versus trying, that's really like one of my mantras. And yeah.
Oh, I love that. Turn on versus trying. That's amazing. And the genius in the genitals. I think that's powerful. And can you speak more to your experience of like how you came to really connect with this part of you?
Yeah, that's definitely a longer story. But I was totally like unspiritually inclined for most of my life. Like my family I came from a very like academic family. Like my dad was a professor. My mom was also a professor. It was like everybody was in their head all the time. And I had a spiritual awakening, just like the most profound kind of like day and night experience of just like meeting my higher self and just really dying and leaving my body. I took ayahuasca in the Peruvian Amazon about 10 years ago for the first time. And it just totally like shook my world upside down. And so I had this incredible awakening, but it all felt very like out of body. Like it felt like I had like fully transcended. I had fully left my body. I had fully like died. It felt like something like really, really cataclysmic and just totally changed everything in my life. Except like when I had this experience, I was like, I don't know how to bring this into my everyday reality. I don't know how to like live this in my body. I don't know. It felt like very kind of transcendent versus like of this world, of this reality. And so it took me a number of years. I tried all these different things to really get back to that space, like yoga and like raw foods and like more and more plant medicine. I think I did like every plant medicine under the sun. To try and get back to these like transcendent higher states. And yes, I had some success with that, but like that became less and less interesting to me. And I really wanted more like an integrated kind of like body, mind, and spirit approach to my spirituality. And so yeah, and then I discovered pleasure, and I discovered Mama Gina's, and it really gave me this new perspective where it's like ecstasy can be rooted in the body, and ecstasy can be an experience that is embodied and is very real versus this sort of nebulous kind of thing that happens in the astral planes. And so it became so it just became an experience that was much more rooted in my body for me. And from there I really started channeling all these ideas and projects, and the orgasmic creativity movement really came from this journey that I've been on.
I love that. That's so beautiful. And I think, I know one of your one of the things you really teach people to do with this movement is to really tap into and harness their sexual energy to use for creative endeavors.
Yes.
And I think that's so important because, when we like to talk about a lot of esoteric things, and sometimes it's hard for just, for people to get a grasp on what that means. So I think when you are, bringing it into your, making it real, making it an embodied thing, which means you can actually do certain things to make your body feel more pleasure and to kind of turn on to that. So what would you say would be kind of one of your number one tips to help people really tap into that sexual energy and harness it for creativity?
Absolutely. So I have this process that I can just take you through if you want.
Yeah, I love it. And just one thing I want to point out too, if anyone has questions, please feel free to type them in, because if you're not watching live and you have questions, we'll definitely come back and make sure to answer all of your questions. So, but yes, I would love you to take me through a process. That would be so cool.
Awesome. Okay. So, so we're all women here. I just wanted to make sure that we're all, we're not going to get naked or anything, but, I just wanted to establish we're in a safe space. So Amanda, what are you looking to create in your life right now? What's turning you on creatively? Business, or there's some sort of project you're wanting to do, or
Oh, there's so many. Let me just think of one to focus on. Yeah, I am actually working on an online course right now. And so I think it would be fun to, I'm in a little stalling point right now, so I need to get rejuiced up about it.
Wonderful. And what is this online course called? Do you know?
So it's going to be, it's my Find Your Feminine Fire 6-week course. And so it's going to be 6 modules, but it will be an online version. So you can take it at your own pace and be able to go back to it whenever. And it will just be a little easier accessible for people, making it easier for people to get to.
Beautiful. So Find Your Feminine Fire 6-week online course. Okay, beautiful. So I'm just going to guide you through this little process. So step 1 is to take your left hand and place it over your pussy.
All right.
So you can just rest it there. You don't have to some people get a little into this process, myself included, but you can just, you can just rest it there. I'll do the same. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to ask you what turns you on. And so you're speaking from that place. You're speaking from that feminine fire, speaking from that juicy place within you. And can you feel her? You can feel it out? Okay. So just make that connection. Just kind of rest there for a moment. Okay. So I'm going to ask you, what turns you on about this Find Your Feminine Fire 6-week course? And so just speak from your pussy, speak from that place.
Okay, so what turns me on about this is, first of all, being able to put my creativity out there in the world and to really, hopefully, help women. I really want to help women be able to access their sexuality more easily and to have really concrete, simple tools that they can use on a daily basis to really tap into their feminine fire and to make it easy for them. And I want it to be accessible for every woman. In my dream world, every woman would be totally connected to themselves and really truly loving themselves and using their radiance to light up their families, their communities, obviously themselves, and just have this huge ripple effect.
Awesome.
That's what's been going on.
Awesome. What else turns you on? So I'm just going to keep going for a little bit. What else turns you on about this course?
I think it's actually kind of fun for me to put something out there in a more concrete way that is obviously in person is so important, but I also think that not everyone is able to make, in-person work. And it's fun to be able to organize all my thoughts in this way. It's a really good way for me to organize my thoughts. And because I have so many that, I usually kind of have a more of a flowy agenda. And this helps me to really get organized about my thoughts. And it feels fun. And that turns me on about it.
Beautiful. And I'm going to ask you one more time, what else turns you on about this course?
It challenges me. It's very challenging, like the technical aspects of that is just forcing me to grow and learn new things, which that turns me on.
Nice. Awesome. So I would usually do this process for like 5 minutes or so. I do this process almost every day before I start my work day. It's like, it just like gets me in that space of like feeling juicy, feeling alive, feeling turned on before I actually start anything. So I feel like I'm already connected to what turns me on specifically about a certain project that I'm doing. So like right now I keep doing it. I've actually put this process a little bit on the back burner as well with all of the juicy tantra we've been doing, but this has been like my go-to process, and it's called Talk and Touch.
Talk and Touch, I love it.
Yeah, I know it sounds a little like, my boyfriend says it sounds a little like creepy uncle, but I'm like, I don't know, I think it works. I really like it.
I like it. It's so simple. Like that is something that's very simple. I can easily do that.
Awesome. And so my peak moment, and so I would share my peak after the end of that. We always share a peak moment. So my peak moment from you listening to that, and like, so I was listening to like your energy, and I was listening to your voice, and I was listening to like kind of the waves of how, it would go sort of up and down, and I could feel when you were really turned on. And like when you said it was just like fun. This is just fun. Like it just felt like your energy was just like, it just felt like I really felt that like turn on coming through. And so that was like my peak moment when you just said like, this is just so fun.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because that's something that I've been really mindful of, trying to be more playful and have more fun in my life. Because I think that for everyone, things can just get so busy and bogged down, and you just forget like to enjoy.
Yeah, I know, totally. And the beautiful thing about this work and about this process is that it really does connect. It's like you can't really connect with your genius unless you're feeling pleasure, unless you're feeling fun. And it really is kind of meant to be this sort of a little bit outrageous. I'm really into like, I love the sort of shock value of Mama Gina. She would just kind of make us do sort of like really things that were out of our comfort zone, but it really sort of shocked you out of your everyday reality, shocked you out of the sort of mundane. And it really like, there's a certain transcendence that happens when you kind of tell people to put their hands on their genitals and talk about what turns them on about something. So not to put you on the spot or anything. Thank you. You did amazingly, by the way.
Well, it's funny because I love Mama Gina, and I love that you did her mastery program, and and I think it's so powerful too. Yeah, doing those things that kind of challenge you and push you out of your comfort zone. And if you don't feel comfortable sharing this, I totally get it. But would there be anything else that you really enjoyed from that, or that you would like to share about your experience there?
Oh my gosh.
I'm sure there's
I know we're sort of supposed to keep some of these things on the DL, but I will share that.
So if there's just something that's okay to share, and I get it if you can't, so no worries either way.
Yeah. Honestly, like feeling the like bigness of my spirit, like in a really embodied way, just like feeling like, I felt like I really connected with that experience of like embodied ecstasy for the first time, just like dancing naked on stage or like decorating my pussy. It was just really like hilarious, like outrageous things that she had us do that just made me feel so alive and just made me feel so like turned on and in my body and electric and just so here and so present and just so like everything that I'd ever thought I knew about like spirituality just became such a like visceral experience that was really felt so deeply connected. So it was really about tapping into those places of like embodied ecstasy. And so it just really made me kind of obsessed with like that as a spiritual path.
That's beautiful. So let me ask you this. If you have, let's see. I lost my chain of thought for a second there. I thought for some reason it was popping up saying that it's not live anymore, but I think it is. So one last thing I'd love for you to share, just to leave with the ladies here, is if there's one thing that you could do every single day to make sure that you are staying turned on and tapped into your orgasmic genius. I love this touch.
The talk and touch, yes.
Talk and touch practice that you get. Is there anything else that you would do on a daily basis?
You know, I have been finding so much benefit from the sex magic practices that we've been doing in our group. And it's just like, I know it's sort of, it's definitely more involved process and you probably don't like, it's probably not appropriate to like teach here, but like, it's just, having that like combining sexual energy with, like focusing on your desires and like really visualizing your desires, like in full kind of 5D reality. And then, and then really channeling your sexual energy and like focusing it towards that outcome or focusing it towards that desire. It feels really powerful and I haven't actually, I've only been doing it for about a week or two. So I'm not totally sure yet about the results, but like, I feel like it's really powerful. And I feel like I'm like tapping into like new levels of like magic. And like, it really feels very related to like the orgasmic genius processes. And like, I can't wait to I can't wait to see the results, like just the fruits of that kind of grow and spread and just really teach that to more and more people. Cause I just feel like it's such a powerful process.
So I know you host a lot of workshops and events as well as do one-on-one coaching. Where can we find you?
So my website is a little bit under construction right now, but it should be up in the next couple of weeks. It's claudialucida.com, Lucida. And you'll be able to find me there in over the next couple of weeks. Just sort of things are coming together still, but
beautiful. And do you have anything else coming up soon that you would like to share? Or we'll just stay tuned on your website for the next exciting...
Might have to stay tuned. I've been really wanting to do like an online breathwork ceremony kind of workshop to tap in specifically to creative genius and to tap into like I feel like this word like creative orgasm that keeps coming in. So maybe it'll be on those lines, but I'm not totally sure when that will be yet. So.
Well, thank you so very much for joining me today. I so love talking to you.
So much. So fun.
And again, thank you so much for watching. And feel free, if you have questions, post them and we'll make sure to get those answered for you. And if you have any other topics that you'd really like us to touch on in the future, please let me know. And I hope you all have an amazing day.
Yay. Thank you so much.
See if it's going to end.